After 21 hours on an ice storm, I came home and my key wouldn't turn. My aunt opened the door and said, 31,000 and you can come back in. Trey needs a truck. I said, understood. Then I got back in my car and left. The next morning, she opened an envelope on the porch and screamed loud enough that 3 houses turned their lights on. There's a tired that has nothing to do with sleep. It lives behind your eyes and in your hands. That was me at 4:15 in the morning pulling into that driveway. I'm a lineman. We'd been out since the ice came through Tuesday, and I'd spent the last day and a half 40 feet up in a bucket in the dark, cutting limbs off primary lines with sleet coming sideways. My gloves were frozen stiff. I hadn't eaten anything but gas station food since Wednesday. All I wanted was a shower and 4 hours before the next call out. The key went in and wouldn't turn. I tried it 3 times, like a lock might change its mind. Then the door opened and there was my Aunt Roxanne in a bathrobe with her phone in her hand. Oh, she said, you're back. Behind her, Trey was on the couch in my old work hoodie with his girlfriend asleep against him and my chips on his lap. 26 years old. Hasn't held a job since he moved in. My key doesn't work, I said. We rekeyed it. Things are changing around here. She folded her arms. You owe back rent. 3 years of it. 31,000, and honestly, that's a discount. Trey needs a truck and you make good money. Does the family know about this? I'm the adult in this house. I looked past her at my grandmother's clock on the wall and the tax notices on the counter with my name printed on them. Understood, I said. I nodded once, walked back to the car, and drove off. I didn't raise my voice. I slept in the crew truck at the yard on a bench seat with my jacket over me, and I smelled like smoke and wet cedar. They celebrated. Trey posted that night about people finally getting what they deserve. Roxanne commented 3 heart emojis on it. Here's what neither of them knew. 3 years ago, right before my grandmother moved into the care home, she asked me to drive her to a lawyer's office in town, and she didn't tell anyone else. She'd watched Roxanne move in on her for 8 months. She'd heard the way Trey talked to her when he thought the hallway was empty. She signed the house over to me that afternoon, recorded and everything. She told me to keep paying the taxes and the insurance, keep the roof up, and let Roxanne go on thinking she ran the place. She'll show you what she is, my grandmother said. You'll know when. So for 3 years, I paid the taxes, the insurance, the water heater, the roof after the hail, and the last 11,000 on the equity loan my grandfather took out in 2009. Every dollar out of my account. Roxanne never paid a cent toward any of it, which means she'd been living free in a house she didn't own, off a man she was billing $31,000. At 7:40 the next morning I drove back. I knocked once, set an envelope on the mat, and then I parked 4 houses down and waited with my coffee. It took maybe 20 minutes. She came out in slippers with a mug, bent down, opened it, and screamed. Not a gasp. A long, ragged, someone has died scream right there in the front yard. Porch lights came on. A dog started up 2 doors down. Mr. Salter came out in his robe to see who was hurt. Trey stumbled out squinting, took the papers, and started yelling at his mother. The letter was 3 pages. A 30-day notice to vacate, signed by the legal owner of the property. Attached to it, a certified copy of the recorded deed with my name and my grandmother's signature, 3 years of paid tax receipts, the insurance declarations page, the payoff letter on the equity loan, and the invoice for the roof. She called me 41 times that day. The voicemail started off apologizing and ended up threatening me. Trey messaged me long paragraphs about how I was destroying his family and how my grandmother would be ashamed. My grandmother is the one who handed me the pen. I blocked them both and went back to work. We had 4,000 customers still without power. 30 days later, I changed the locks myself. They'd taken the ceiling fans and the storm door. There were holes in the drywall in the back bedroom, and my grandmother's blue dishes were in pieces in the garage, which is the only part that got to me. I fixed the drywall on my days off. I still have 3 of the dishes. Roxanne tells people I threw a struggling widow out of her own home. Trey has a whole account about it now. I'm not correcting anybody. I sleep in the back bedroom with the window cracked, and for the first time in 3 years, nobody can change the locks on me.